So what is progress, guys? I am very Darwinian. I love the guy a lot. And basically, the premise is that we live in a very chaotic world where all sorts of things can happen to you, regardless of how intelligent you are and how many cells your body is made of. And those who survive are the ones that are capable of withstand this chaos, to have like an edge, to figure the shit out as it happens in real time under their feet, even if what they're seeing is something that they've never seen before. And that's the key to all of it, I think, because yeah, of course, centuries and millennia of evolution made us better in what in the past killed us. So we have legs, we have eyes, we can smell things, probably because the individuals, our ancestors that had the genes that were the precursors of these features, had an edge against those that didn't have these traits. And of course you have to think about it in a very simplistic way. Like if you're talking about toys, Lego, and you know, you have this thing that looks like a boat, and then you add wheels to it. You're like, oh, now this thing can go on sand as well. Imagine this thing with wheels. Wow, I have like a tank now. What is the difference? Well, maybe one day you wake up and the sea is just, you went fuck all the way. And you need fish to eat. And, you know, if you don't have wheels, you're stuck. Basically, might die by the beach. But if you have these wheels, and you can move around with them, maybe you go over there and you find, I don't know, some arrosticini. These are arrosticini. Maybe some sheep to make them, and so on. So basically you have a skill, an edge over your peers, which are not peers anymore, because you are like version 2, so to say. You're like the weirdo that everyone made fun of because you had wheels, and they were like, oh, what a stupid thing you got there. One day you wake up and all your friends, all those that were bullying you are dead, and you're like, oh, wow, now what was theirs is mine, because I just got this gift. Cool story, bro. I got selected by evolution to thrive, reproduce and conquer. So this is more or less very silly way, very improvised way how it works. And we have been doing the same for everything. We have been doing the same for science, for businesses, for relationships, literally for everything. Like, let's think about machine learning. It's similar, but the process is sped up to like a fault. And you literally have like epochs, which is like the time, like the life of an iteration, in which you define if the things that you are testing for are successful or not. And obviously you have degrees of success, even though some events are very binary, like, oh, I won or I died. And in the beginning maybe it is like that. You have to go in steps. You first have to learn how to walk, and then you can learn how to run, even though it's cool to try weird things, because maybe there are some scientists that say, no, fuck that, I think you should run first. Maybe don't even walk at all, we just run. And maybe that's their edge. But obviously there are pros and cons in everything, because now you just expose yourself to something, which is, for example, you use baseline more energy than those that can walk. So there are some scenarios in which even if you are a little faster, you might die because you might die of hunger or something like that. So it's really hard to define expertise, like the perfect expertise I would say any field. It's really hard. Unless you go very narrow, super narrow, one specific goal, and you create like absolute killers, snipers that are like the best or the best at that specific thing. You don't care about anything else. It's just that. Fair enough. But sometimes, especially for complex things, you cannot really isolate a winning criteria in such level of detail. It's really hard, it's probably impossible. So yeah, basically same process. Whatever works is granted the right to evolve. Wait, is that like society? So if you're good at shit, you can reproduce? Maybe even go to Mars? Fuck, I need to make money. Lots of it, let's go. Jokes apart, guys. Yes, you have to make money, not for Lamborghinis. No. But because who came before you had to fight with blood and sweat to give your life in the future? Now it's only your duty to honor their sacrifices and do your part. It's as simple as that. So yeah, evolution is this. We are all playing a game and we all have stats, skill points, and ultimately time. There's this counter up there that you cannot even see. You can only buy power-ups and power-downs, and guess what? You pay them with time. So you need to place your bets in a very smart way if overall you want to gain time, because you know, sometimes you might be just investing in the wrong thing and everything looks good, but you are doing yourself harm more than anything else. So yeah, we are all competing for what is available in this world, and we have to make the most out of it. And of course, you are born with nothing, and we will die with nothing. But what we can do while we are here is incredible. I mean, I know nobody, but at least I want to have a shot at it. I don't want to die with the regrets of not even having tried. Because maybe even this video, stupid video that I'm doing while running, maybe in 50 years, it's gonna be something revolutionary. People would have lost the ability of moving their joints because they are glued at their chairs, like one of these dystopian movies. Yeah, that's actually a dystopian movie. If you read between the lines, yeah, maybe this video might change lives. I have no idea. But I'm doing it for myself. Because it's kind of romantic to think that it might. And the question that I ask myself is, why not? I've seen way more ridiculous things gaining traction and success. With all due respect, no crying in the casino. I'm just saying that people maybe lost their marbles a little bit. We are entertained by silly, stupid things like this other documentary was showing. Yes, that was actually a documentary. And we are not having kids anymore. We are all fighting for the wrong power-ups. I mean, everyone needs money. Maybe we don't need that much. And I speak from someone with no privilege at all. I left my house with 50 euros. No job. With nothing. Everything was stolen from me, from very close to me. My brother. Yes. One day I will explain everything to you guys. But you know, I could have gone into depression. Even worse than that. Completely alone, no friends, no family. Nothing. But you know, when you realize that you have yourself, don't give up. The opposite. If you discover that you have within you powers that you could have never dreamt about, the things that I do today, that I did in the past, would have been completely unimaginable to my past self. And this is the way it should be. To go back at learning and evolution. The world is chaotic. We don't know that shit is eating the fun. Up until the shit eats it. Look at that. I could have never thought that my brother would have stripped me something I built. Sweat and tears. But it happened. Anything can happen. You have to be ready for it. That's one thing that machines can do that we cannot. Give them energy and they can just live. Now we are kind of modern in life. I always thought about these things even when I was a kid, watching the movies, thinking about artificial intelligence and thinking, what does a computer need to live, to be alive? And I was thinking about things, of course, language. It needs to be able to learn. The language is the first thing, and we are there. Now computers can read and write language, so all the knowledge and literature that is out there, and not only that, also the videos and the audios can be translated into something that computers can understand, so to say. This is incredible. But there's still something missing. You need a reward function for learning that goes beyond what has been learned already. So you need a way to discover things in an effective way. So you're actually writing history, so to say. Many might say, oh, but that's just slop, because you are silly like an artist and you're making this idea yours, and you put your signature at the end and you say, oh, I built this. Pretty much is the same as humans we have been doing since the beginning of times, always trying to imitate the ones that we perceive as better than us in certain areas, and we replicate the same patterns that we deem successful, and we add some salt to it, like our spin. This is how people are considered weird and normal, because maybe we had all the same baseline, the same base programming, so to say, but then everyone has their quirks, their weirdness that come from experiences, memories, and whatever, even the relationships that they have. They shape their way of thinking. And I think with computers it's very much the same. I've been playing with this concept a lot on my local host, as I call it, my home lab. Unfortunately, I don't have much compute yet. And probably I will be beaten by much bigger teams that can play with these ideas that, of course, are not novel in any shape or form. I'm just still like an artist myself now, by doing what just seems reasonable to do, that is already being done in a different way. So my spin is, and probably it's very similar to Karpati, I have a bunch of agents that have their own personality and stuff. And you'll be like, oh, but that's stupid, why are you adding personality? That's the whole point. It might seem redundant, but what you're doing is actually trying to trick the algorithm into creating more entropy, so to say. You want to explore more of what is possible, and you don't want to have a team of sheep that think exactly the same way. You want some actual weirdos in your team that can show you ways that you never thought about, and you can be surprised by them and be like, huh, that's pretty cool, let's try that out. And obviously you want normies as well, because they represent what, generally speaking, works most of the times, which is also good to keep an eye on. So you have these teams working on a project. Could be anything from the smallest bug fix to full-fledged app to a feature, whatever, and you just say, hey guys, this is the problem, this is the outcome I want, have fun. Repeat until whatever, like it could be time, Could be until you empty my credit card and my balance goes to zero, anything like that. Could be anything. And then they come up with a result. And then basically this team of agents delivers something that technically should do what it was asked to do, because there are actually in place checks to verify that it's not just shit talking, this stuff has been implemented for real, and then that's it. You improve from there, you select the members of the team that contributed the most, and you keep the other ones in rotation. You try to make them have kids, so to say. Mix and match different agents, different skills and traits, and you try to create new versions that are a mixture of things. Makes me think about mixture of experts. I think it's similar. The underlying concept in a way rings a little bit, but this is applied in a way that is more normie friendly, something that you can be yourself, and then you keep iterating. You have these randomly generated teams, they work on your project, some just for fun, some are actually for real problems that you have. So you are the user, you can provide the feedback that this system needs to understand if they are performing or not. And you provide this feedback in a way that they can digest, which could be like a simple message in their group chat or anything like that, and they will adjust according to what you said. Pretty powerful shit. And the key is to automate these things as much as possible, so you do have the feedback happen faster and faster and faster, but in a way that doesn't bother the user for stupid things like, I already told you this, I wanted the button to be blue, why do you make it green? So you have to make sure that these incremental improvements are always captured and tested against. So yeah, of course you will get to a point where there are hardware and software limits to this process, because context window and timeouts and stuff like that. But with drag and semantic search, I think what we are doing as an industry is working on all these problems at the same time, and maybe one day all of a sudden a new library drops and that solves 80% of your issues, and you apply it and it's a completely new game for you. It can happen, it happened before. So yeah, I'm very bullish, guys. What do you guys think? Enjoy. Speak soon.